Hello, everybody. MechlordGames here. we um, we're just gonna go over talking about a bunch of cards. This is my new series that I'm doing called Card Talk. We're just gonna be discussing things that hopefully we want coming back, or just kind of discuss things in general. But I am actually here with a fellow personal friend and Yugioh who is right over here. If he'll start talking.
Hey guys, what is up? And today I am Yu-Gi-Oh! Time Lord. And as MechlordGames said himself, I am one of his personal friends, and yeah, we're doing a card talk.
And you're British.
And I'm British.
Which makes it all the better. So first card on the list is Honest. A lot of people know what Honest does. It is very overpowered. And it's one of the very few cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That has been bouncing back and forth, just like, Heretic Seal of... What is it? It's not Supremacy. Heretic Seal of Convocation, that's what it is. That have been bouncing between 3 to 2 to 1 to 3. They just don't know what they want to do with it. And it's back again, back at 2. And when you're thinking about the decks that there are today, there is a lot of light decks. And Honest is played, in Lightsworn. It can be played in Shadalls. It can be played in a lot of things diversely. But one of the things I actually love it in is Melodious. It's a very, very underestimated set. And can be just very, very trolly as shit if played right. What's your opinion on this, Adam?
Well, personally, I'm not a big fairy fan, but
I'm not a fan of fairy decks either. But Melodious is definitely one of them. What's your opinion about the Honest coming to 2 again?
I love Honest coming to 2. As you said, they've been bouncing it around for ages. But I think with Honest at 2, it will come in handy. Yeah, with fairy decks. But because fairy decks, I would say, are probably underrated. But they could help with cards like Galaxy decks more, I think. Because Galaxy decks, with the new support they got, would actually be a lot more powerful, especially with number 95 when that comes to TCG.
Oh, yeah.
Or Galaxy
and
Soldier.
Even Satellar Knights themselves, can take extreme advantage of Honest, because you can go first turn Deneb, get a search off. If you have Honest in hand, that's fine, because your opponent's probably gonna do something, gonna attack into you, drop Honest. Yeah, what now? What are you gonna do now? Huh? Nothing. But Honest can also be used in, Agents, which is a very, very famous set and very popular, and people still love Agents today. They're not really probably ever going to be a meta deck again. Now, this is where I'm going to get tons of hate from my friend Atsuga, because he loves Agents. It's his favorite deck. He runs IRL. But the big problem is when you top deck those Shine Balls. And you don't get anything else. Yeah, every time I play Agents, just top deck nothing but Shine Balls. It's just like, what the fuck. Anyway, Troll card. Very troll.
Yes. One of the best cards that's actually banned, but not banned.
It is banned on DN due to the fact that they cannot put a process into where you can actually flip the deck.
Because
and
it's shit.
You will actually get banned on DN due to convulsion nature. And it's not that they can't, it's just...
They can't be asked.
Well, probably that too. But that would take up so much more data that they use.
You can take the card off the site, simple.
Well, yeah, just take it off the site so it's not even a thing. But there was actually a deck-out deck that involves Convulsion of Nature, where you get to see every card that your opponent has, and you I guess there was a card that you could use to take advantage of it, and use their card against them. It was weird, but Convulsion of Nature actually is banned in tournaments due to that fact. Next on the list, Frogs.
Yes.
Frogs might one day make a comeback. Might be good again. Reason being, they got Gores at 2. And Gores at 3 in OCG.
That could come in handy.
But they've got the new Monarch tribute cards that are really good, like Escalation and Stormforth. You have Escalation set during your opponent's turn. Let's say you have a Majesty's Fiend in hand. Your opponent summons a monster, chain Escalation, chain Stormforth, tribute their monster on their turn, for Majesty's Fiend or Vanity's Fiend or whichever monarch you want to summon as well. So it's pretty broken. And frogs themselves, they have been long awaiting for one card to be revived. Substitute.
Yeah, I agree there. Obviously, as you can see from the effect, you can tribute one monster, special summon one frog monster from your deck. As long as it's not the frog to jam, you pretty much just use it to summon anything.
Yep.
Which does come in handy with like mermaid decks as well.
Use this in combination with Mass Driver for an OTK. And with just basically Substitute and Ronin Totem and Mass Driver, you will literally win with just those. I feel like, though, if they bring Substitute back, it'll be like a once per turn kind of thing for Substitute. I mean, you could 1-for-1 into Substitute. That's broken. You could 1-for-1 into Substitute and just keep bouncing multiple swap frogs back and just keep milling things from your deck, and you're going to have a lot of fun. What's your particular opinion on Gores being at 2 in the TCG and 3 in OCG?
Well, to be honest, Gores at 2, I do see why it can be good, but to be honest, I prefer it at 1. I know some people may not like that, but when it was at 1, it didn't take up much room, and it did come more in handy, because when you got it, that was it, boom. But when it's 2, you don't really see why you need it.
Yeah, I honestly, though, think that it would be fine at 3. It's not really that great of a card anymore due to the fact that pretty much most decks are about huge, heavy monster effects rather than going out for
such as Burning Abyss.
OTK. Yeah, Burning Abyss is all about just getting nothing but mass monster effects and going off and doing shit. Cleafort. They're a bit slower, but Cleafort is like a modern-day stun deck. But they can't really stop a Gores if Gores were to be summoned. Which is a good thing, because it's nice to, see, if someone drops a Gores, that's not too big of a deal. Because it's not. Gores is not that great of a threatening card anymore, because everything is just going to either, 1, get around it too easily, or 2, just attack over it. So...
Right, just going back onto the topic of the frogs. Obviously, they're still a great cards, but I reckon if you make it with a mermaid type deck, because obviously you're discarding them, you can use it for like Running Toad, Swap Frog, send Treeborn to the grave.
Get them into the grave. And I saw a screenshot that you sent me. I was watching the duel that you were having with it, and it was pretty fair, pretty good. I actually did get a 6,000 attack point kill with frogs today. It wasn't a kill with the 6,000 attack, it was a kill with Treeborn Frog. I was dueling the guy who was playing a Uriah token deck, and I had summoned Cat Shark and made Daigusta
Which
Emerald,
is a great card,
and had Treeborn Frog. Cat Shark on Emerald. Emerald be able to attack twice for 6,000, and then poke him to death with the Treeborn Frog for the last 100 points. It was hilarious. Best freaking frog game I ever had. And I was going to save it on DN, but I don't have enough room on DN to save any more shit on my profile. I think on to the next card, we should talk about Super Polymerization.
Yes,
this card,
I totally agree with Konami banning that card. Apart from the side with the heroes, but when it was at 1, it was overpowered, I reckon.
Even at 1, it's overpowered. But remember when it was like... Remember in September of like 2013, this card at 3 in Heroes was so heroes. Good. Considering against Dragon Rulers, you could use this and make anything, because all of their elemental types, you can make whatever you wanted out of it. Just set this, someone like a Bubble
Stratos.
Man. Yeah, Stratos. Stratos, got banned. Stratos wasn't good enough to be banned. Honestly, in my opinion, you should not have banned Stratos. Should not have.
No.
They gave us the third search spell. It was just they didn't want those Bubble Beat decks having that push to make a first turn Ninja or first turn Excalibur and search off of that as well. And that's kind of what they had the big push on. But there was the Hero Lives play into first turn Stratos into summoning, Bubble Man, overlaying for something and still searching, but you pay 4,000 life points. That's not a big deal. So why ban Stratos for that reason? Considering it's only used in heroes, it can only be used for heroes. And that kind
That
of
is
does
true, yeah.
piss me off that they would go and ban that. It was like the one super fantastic great card that heroes had. It was what got
And it was,
them their things. Next card.
well, technically it's not.
Oh, there's another thing I
Cyber.
wanted to mention about Super Poly. You can't chain to it. So it's super broken, and it was played in Shaddolls, and Shaddolls really abused this card. And
That's the main reason why it got banned,
yeah, considering
personally.
you're facing Cleaforth, use their monster to summon Shikanaga. Or let's say you're facing Satellar Knights. Well, use their monster, make Construct. Or you face Shaddolls, use a Shadow monster, make Window. You could use it for
Pretty
all of
much.
those. Or if you were running their new Fire monster, Gristall, and your opponent's playing a deck that has a Fire monster, well, yeah, just take that Fire monster, use it for Gristia, no effects. So
Yeah,
pretty,
and they're pretty much fucked.
yep, pretty much broken. This card, what do you think about this?
Cyberstein is personally was one of my favourite cards in first gen, mainly because of Blue Eyes Ultimate and how easy it was pretty much to get out.
Yep.
Because all you got to do is gain a few life points, play that card, and there you go. Without even trying, you got Blue Eyes Ultimate on your field.
Yep, it was my favorite for the XYZ Dragon Cannon because the effect wasn't negated because it doesn't have like a must be fusion summon effect on it. So it was just like
No,
you play this summon XYZ VWXYZ Dragon Cannon. Well, Dragon Catapult Cannon, it was just like you could destroy anything and it doesn't matter because you can just go Cyberstein, pay 5,000 life points, summon it, pretty much get rid of everything, and then just do a lot of damage to them. And it was hilarious. And this card also led to Fusion Burns. Well, Fusion Burn OTKs with like Phoenix Wing Bombardment Bird using the Psychic Field spell, which is also very broken because you don't pay anything. You don't pay anything. And it's just hilarious when you're summoning big beat stick monsters burning damage to people.
pretty much, yeah.
So,
That's what I loved about it.
this card was limited to 1, now is back at 3. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, depending on the type of deck, it could be a good thing. But because it's at 3 and with the effect, puts it in a shadow deck, and I reckon you'd be unstoppable. Because if you think about it, you got a few shadow cards in your grave, and you want those. Say like construct back, you can use one construct and then say, I don't know, a hedgehog or something. You send construct to the extra deck, send hedgehog to your main deck, shuffle it, and you got your cards back basically.
Yep. And also that it can be a counter to a lot of decks. Like you're facing Shadows or BA, their cards go to the graveyard, you just chain this, send it back so they don't get their resolution. And it's just absolutely hilarious when you do that because then I actually played this at 3 against a Burning Abyss player today. And it was hilarious because he makes Dante, sends 3 cards, manages to mill Skarm and Graph, chain it, bounce both of those back. He called an admin came in and actually said, no, they don't get to resolve because they didn't get to stay in the graveyard to resolve their effects. So he got a little salty and just said, you know what, fuck this site, I'm done with you fucking faggots. And he got banned. He got banned. Next card, Nobleman of Crossout. Way good.
That was back in first gen, second gen. It was pretty, and sort of maybe 5Ds in a way.
I believe this came out
not so
right
much this
before
day and age.
5Ds. I still think though that this card is a very, very good side deck card because this is great against Shadows because they all have flip effects and you will banish all of them from their main deck. And it's absolutely hilarious.
You've also got, what's the other one? Nobleman of Extermination or something.
Yep.
It pretty much does the same thing
Except for
as that.
yeah, just that destroys them all. I think. Hold on, let me actually pull up Nobleman of Extermination. What is that? Oh, that's for back row. So this is like is like a super MST pretty much. And this
so
is
basically, if you activate
super
a
deep
cross
prison.
out with that.
MST, deep prison. MST, deep prison. This is just if you really want to get rid of all of their back row, like that someone's playing like 3 breakthrough skill or like vanity. You play this on vanity.
It destroys it and banishes him.
Yep, and get rid of all of them from the deck.
Well, at least with
but
this
it
video,
can only target
people
face
are
downs, which they'll just chain, so Nobleman of Extermination wouldn't have any effect. As to where this would go through just due to the fact that they're not going to be able to flip that face down. Unless it was like a ghost trick. Like this against ghost tricks is a very terrible idea. Because it will not work. And this just won't work on back row because they'll just chain it. So Nobleman of Extermination is actually pretty bad nowadays. Back in the day, this was really good. But this is good now.
Yeah, but it can still work quite well, though, against some decks.
Yeah. Still
Mainly
can.
probably Shadows. They say play Shadow Fusion face down.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that. All of them copies are gone. You can't use them at all then.
Well, if it was a trap, you would remove them all. So that's why I said Nobleman of Extermination isn't really that good, because most traps people would just chain. But here, Dark Magician of Chaos. I don't really see why this card really got banned.
No, probably does really. If it's normal or specials, you get one card.
I know, but at the point in time when this card was banned, there really wasn't that prominent of a way to summon it. It wasn't easy to summon. As of now, yeah, there would be a lot of ways to be able to summon this monster. But back, when it actually did get banned, which I think was around 2006, 2007, when they finally actually had their first ban list after what was it? Chaos Emperor Dragon came out, which is when they finally actually really had their first ban list. Was in like 07 to 08ish. That's like when they had their first ban. At least as far as I'm aware, because I've had like a lot of the old Game Boy games that have actually had a ban list, and they've all been from roughly around that time period. But as of now, I think this card,
Well, it would come in handy. Snatch and steal, really.
Yep, snatch, steal, Regeki being a thing. I could see it happening. I could see it being a pretty good thing.
You should at least just take it to 1, just as like a trial.
Yeah, just give people a chance to actually try it out and see what they can make with it.
Because no one really used it. They do it first out.
And speaking of snatch steal, here we are. Got banned same time period as Dark Magician of Chaos and Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End? Is that it? Envoy of the End, or is it the beginning? Don't know.
No, Envoy of the End. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning.
Oh, okay, yeah. But this was banned at the same time period as, those two. So, this card back then was way, way, way too broken.
But shit.
But any time someone summoned a strong monster, you play Snatch Steal, they just gave up.
In a way.
Because they couldn't really do much about it. And MST was limited to 1, this format. So there wasn't really much of a chance for them to come back and take their monster back with ease. But now with MST at 3, yeah, Snatch Steal, not that great. But it can still be very, very good. And I actually am kind of glad that they did bring it back to 1. Because it's bringing back really old gen cards and giving them a new purpose. Because they realized how good it was, and now it can be used very more diversely.
First gen for the win.
Yep, first gen. Speaking of first gen, Change of Heart. What do you think about Change of Heart?
Personally, especially against shadows, because it's basically like the Snatch Steel version, but without a permanent effect. But still use it to summon, for example, Shockmaster, 32, Utopia, and cards like that.
Yep.
Or use it to sacrifice and summon something powerful.
Yeah, I mean, Change of Heart, though, it doesn't take permanent control, it's just until the end phase. So, I mean, really, it's not that
Which
great.
is the only downside.
Yeah. The downside is that they only gain control until the end phase. So that's really, I think that they should bring Change of Heart back just because of that reason. I mean, it only lasts till end phase, so they would have to make sure that they use it against you, or things are going to get pretty difficult for them. Which, I mean, in the current meta, with all the XCs and Synchros, it's a high possibility that it could be
because it's a
good.
nice little card in it.
Yeah. That, and I mean, first gen.
It was a good card back when it came out.
Now, Heavy Storm, on the other hand,
You can stay banned. I do not miss that card at all.
I actually do miss Heavy Storm, actually.
No, when I first played DN, everyone had Heavy Storm in their deck, and every time I set a card, they had that 3 Heavy Storms ready for me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do nothing.
I mean, Heavy Storm at 3 would be too much. Heavy Storm at 2 would be too much. But at 1, pretty balanced. I mean, you've got Raigeki and 2 Dark Holes. So why not have Heavy Storm back? If you're really worried about destruction, there is such a thing as Starlight Road.
Well, because Heavy Storm is basically the Dark Hole version.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, you're worried about destruction? Just play Starlight Road. And you're good.
Well, yeah, good point. It does actually coerce now. Because obviously, I'm a bit dueling on DM, so I could find a way of countering Heavy Storm a lot easier than I used to.
Exactly. You can actually easily counter Heavy Storm, and there's things like Dark Bribe, 7 Tools of the Bandit, like I said, Starlight Road. But Starlight Road, they can chain Vanity too, so you won't get your dragon. But you'll still negate that Heavy Storm, though. So, that is a good thing. Monster Reborn,
Should be 3 easy.
Yeah. I wouldn't care if it was at 3 or if it was 1, or if it was just at 1. I just want it back because it gave a lot of decks more hope.
Especially heroes.
Oh yeah.
Or the elemental heroes, stuff like that.
This gave a lot of decks a lot of hope, and now they're pretty much stringing along that now you can't make like a diverse deck because you don't have much revival. So now pretty much everything is everything is pretty much just solely based around particular archetypes. And that does make decks harder to build because there's not too much support for a lot of the archetypes they're making.
Well, apart from like Burn, Abyss and Shadows, because they just support themselves.
Yeah, they can support themselves very easily, but you can't get really any outside support. But things like Melodious, Agents, they don't really have too much. So having these Monster Reborns available at their disposal will, give them what they need to maybe make that good final push to where they can maybe possibly be meta again. But, that's just my opinion.
But you can also use if you activate Monster Reborn, because you got a Honest Engrave.
Yeah, exactly.
You can basically use it, summon Honest, and then take Honest back to your hand. So, in a way, I can see. Yeah, now, so in a way, you do get 3 Honests then.
Yeah, that is true. And they did bring this guy back, Dark Strike Fighter. What do you think about them bringing this back?
Well, it was better at one point before they changed the effect, just so they bring it back.
Yep.
Instead of doing it once per turn, you used to just be able to fuck everybody up, basically.
Yep, because you would just summon this and just play zombies, pretty much. Because this deck, zombies abused this deck a lot when Birdman was at 3. Zombies just love to abuse this card. Because they would just go and mass summon everything, tribute, and You would just do burn damage. You tribute, like, you would just tribute off Mizuki, summon something, tribute that off, and so forth. But the last card really is number 16, Shockmaster.
Now, I would love to see that card at 1.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, basically, you can stop spell trap on monster cards for 1 turn.
Yep. And
You know, in the anime it was 3 turns.
yeah, which was extreme. But the TCG version of this, pretty well balanced. It's only until your opponent's next end phase, and it's only that one type. And you got to be very careful when using this so that you negate the right effect. And they had this at 3 before it was banned. And people were just taking advantage of that and running rank 4 spam decks and just summoning multitudes of these things, calling out, like, you call it monster effects, traps, then you call it spells, traps, then monster effects in your third one. And your opponent just has to pass their turn over. You do it again. You pass over to your opponent. They pass, do it again. GG. Couldn't really stop it. But at 1, I feel like Shockmaster is really well balanced. And there appears to be some sort of lag.